Hey cousin, are you a fan of Ropa Vieja? Ropa Vieja is Cuban style shredded beef. This is absolutely delicious and I put this together in easy to follow steps. Let me show you how I made it. I'm going to be using about 2.5 pounds of brisket. I picked this up at my local supermarket and it is kind of pricey, but it's the best cut of beef to use for this dish. I washed and cleaned my meat and now I'm going to cut it into large chunks, just about this size. Next, I'm going to season my meat. All of the ingredients are going to be listed in the caption or description bar below, but I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of sofrito, 1 tablespoon of cumin, that's ground cumin, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of ground oregano, 2 orange seasoning packets, or these are the condiment seasoning packets with color, 2 tablespoons of garlic paste, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of cooking oil. Next, I'm going to season my meat really well so that all of these flavors can marry together, and I'm going to then allow my meat to marinate for at least 2 hours in the fridge before I start cooking. Very important information. I am going to be using a pressure cooker to tenderize my brisket. This takes about 35 minutes in the pressure cooker. If you're going to be making this in standard stovetop pot, this is going to take about 2 hours in the pot. You're going to cover it with water to tenderize the meat. It takes about 2 hours, but you're still going to follow all of the steps you're going to see on the screen. When it's time to start cooking, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to my pot that's been going on medium-high heat, and I'm going to allow this to heat through for about 2 minutes. Once my oil is hot, I'm going to add in my meat piece by piece because I'm going to brown the meat. I'm going to let this sit on the pot for 10 minutes, 10 whole minutes. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to bother it. At the end of those 10 minutes, when I flip my meat over, we're going to have a nice brown color. At the end of those 10 minutes, when we flip over our meat, we've achieved that wonderful brown color. And then to the bowl where I seasoned the meat, that has a ton of flavor, I'm going to add 3 cups of water to that bowl, and I'm going to pour that over the meat, just enough water to cover the meat completely. To this, I'm going to add 4 dry bay leaves, and I'm going to cover my pot. Again, I'm using a pressure cooker, so I'm going to seal my pot. This is going on medium-high heat for 35 minutes. If you're using a standard pot, this is going to go for 2 hours. If you're using your pressure cooker, then you already know. Once the girls start singing, it's time to lower the flame and let it cook. This is when the tenderizing happens and the magic happens inside of the pressure cooker. Once our time is up, I'm going to turn off my pot and I'm going to let it cool for 10 minutes so I can open my pressure cooker. Then I'm going to pull my meat from the pot and I'm going to set it aside in a bowl. But do not toss out that braising liquid. The liquid that formed when we were making the meat, do not toss that out because that is a very important part of making our ropa vieja, and we're going to save that for later. Next, we're going to shred our ropa vieja. I allowed my brisket to cool, I'm gonna say for like 5 or 10 minutes, just so that it's easier to handle. Look how easy this pulls apart. Oh man, and you can eat it just like that. I definitely sneaked in more than a few bites. So using 2 forks, what you're gonna do is just pull the meat apart. Whether you use the standard pot or you pressure cook your meat, as long as it's nice and tender, this is super easy to do. Just pulling the meat apart with 2 forks shreds the meat. There is no uniform way to shred ropa vieja. If you like thicker, bigger clumps, you just leave thicker, bigger clumps. And if you like finer pieces, you just shred it finer. It's all up to preference. Once the beef is shredded, we go on to the fun part, guisando la ropa vieja. For veggies, from right to left, I'm going to be using 1 yellow onion, 8 cloves of garlic that I minced, red bell pepper, cubanello pepper, green bell pepper, and cilantro. In the now drained pot where I tenderized my brisket, this is going on medium-high heat. I'm going to add in the garlic, and I'm going to move this around just to tenderize the garlic and give it some color. I realized that I needed a little extra oil than just what was left behind, so I added 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'm cooking in the garlic. Then I'm going to add in my shredded meat, and I'm going to combine the garlic with the shredded meat together so that the meat can take on the extra garlicky flavor. Remember the braising liquid I asked you to reserve, not to throw away? Now we're going to add in 3 cups of the braising liquid that we reserved. This braising liquid holds the keys to all of the flavor in this Ropa Vieja. The braising liquid is the key to the sauce. Next, I'm going to add in a total of 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and 6 or so olives. The olives are completely optional. I like to use a bunch of them because I like the flavor that it gives, and the tomato paste is what gives it the thick consistency that we're looking for. So if you'd like to add a little more tomato paste, that's all up to preference, all up to you. Mix this all really well together, and then we're gonna go on to the vegetables that we had pre-cut. I'm going to add all of them into the pot. The cilantro goes in last. I'm going to mix all of the vegetables into the meat. This is still going on medium-high heat, and then I'm going to add in the cilantro right over the top because I want the cilantro flavor to seep into the meat. I'm going to cover my pot, not seal it, just cover it for 20 minutes on a medium flame. Remember to lower the flame to medium. At the end of those 20 minutes, all we're going to do is pull the cilantro out of the meat, and we are done. You have made Ropa Vieja, cousin, and I am so excited for you. If this is the first time you're making this, you are going to love this, and so is your family. Serve this with some white rice, una habichuelita negra guisada, uno plátano maduro frito, and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video, cousin. Thank you for watching.